Most people think teeth whitening is simple. You buy a kit, slap on some strips, and suddenly you've got that instant Hollywood smile. But if it was really that easy, I wouldn't have patients coming to me after wasting hundreds of dollars on products that barely made a dent. I'm Dr. Larry Dougherty from Dougherty Cosmetic Dentistry, and I've been helping patients achieve brighter smiles here in San Antonio for over 17 years. And the truth is, the real cost of whitening has a lot of considerations. And if you don't factor those in, you could easily spend more over the next 10 years on cheap, quick fixes than you would on professional treatment that actually works. That's why in this video, I'll show you the real cost of KoR Whitening, how it stacks up against other options, and if it's really worth it. Cost breakdown, what's included. So here's the million-dollar question everyone wants to know. How much does KoR Whitening actually cost? When people hear whitening treatments, they automatically think they're paying for a simple bleaching gel. But KoR is a professional grade treatment that isn't just for light touch-ups. It's designed to handle even the toughest cases out there. That's why when you book this service, you're investing in advanced whitening materials, custom trays, and professional oversight that makes sure the treatment is tailored to your smile. Here at our practice, the fee is typically around $1,000, and that already covers a full consultation to make sure you're the right candidate, custom trays designed specifically for your teeth, an in-office treatment that gives you instant results, take-home gel so you can maintain your white smile at home, and of course, the complete KoR system, engineered to erase stains that most whitening methods can't touch. But not every practice is the same, and that's often where patients get surprised. So when you get a quote from your dentist, I always recommend asking these questions. Are custom trays included, or do I have to pay extra for those? What about desensitizing trays? Will I get take-home gel, or is this just a one-time in-office treatment? Is a follow-up visit part of the fee, or will that be charged separately? And are sensitivity treatments or other add-ons included, or do those cost extra? Also, if we're talking about KoR, are we actually using KoR products or another brand's products? It's really important. Are we using KoR brand trays? Is everything we're using all meant to go together? There's a lot of knockoff products out there, so you have to really be careful. By doing that, you can protect your wallet while getting all the info you need to make the best decision for your smile. And speaking of making decisions, no online comparison or numbers crunching can replace a professional evaluation of your teeth. Every smile is different, and what works for others might not work for you. So if you're in the San Antonio area, book a consultation with us today using the link in the description. That way, you'll know exactly which option fits your needs and your budget, comparison to other whitening options. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. If the goal is just to whiten your teeth, why not grab a kit off Amazon? Or maybe book one of those quick laser sessions at a med spa? Fair question. But here's a better way to look at it. Let's say your car has a huge paint scratch, and instead of getting a full detailing service, you opt for a cheap wax job. Sure, it may make your car look shiny for a little while, but underneath the surface, nothing really changed. And that's what it's like if you choose over-the-counter whitening options over KoR Whitening. Because while store-bought kits can give you a short-term boost, they only work on surface-level stains. But KoR Whitening penetrates deeper to break down long-term discoloration and deliver results that are more dramatic and stable. And that's why, when you're comparing whitening options, you can't just look at the price tag. Instead, you should run down this checklist. First, look at how deep the whitening goes. Is it just the surface, or does it reach those stubborn stains that have been built up over the years? Duration. Next, compare how long the results last before you'll need another touch-up. If you need to constantly reorder your kits just to maintain that brightness, you might be paying more than a professional treatment in the long run. Professional assistance. Third, ask yourself, will you have a professional to guide you, or are you left to your own devices to figure out how the treatment works? Some treatments deal with strong chemicals, so having an experienced staff can prevent any accidents from happening. Sensitivity. And lastly, think about sensitivity. If you're buying an at-home kit, does the system include desensitizing treatments, or is there a risk of discomfort? Maybe some kits will leave you wincing when you sip ice water. So when you weigh it all out, the difference between quick fixes and professional whitening becomes pretty clear, right? The touch-up maintenance system. But that usually leads to the next big question. How long do the KoR Whitening results actually last? Okay, so imagine someone who's 50 and has never whitened their teeth before. Now, think about all that means. 30 years or more of morning coffee, countless glasses of red wine, maybe even some years of smoking. Add in the little daily habits, like forgetting to floss every day, and over time, layer after layer of stain builds up on the enamel. So it's easy to see why someone might start to feel a bit hopeless. They might even think their teeth are too far gone. But that doesn't have to be a problem. Because with KoR Whitening, those 40+ years of stains can be completely erased. and the results can last decades, even into your 90s. And the same is true for you. Doesn't matter if you've only had a year or 50 years of staining. If you try out KoR treatment, you can keep your teeth white permanently, but only if you follow proper and consistent at-home maintenance. So what does that look like? Okay, so think of KoR like a whitening plus insurance. You invest up front, then it's just a small yearly refreshers to keep everything looking its best. And if you want to maximize the result, there are 2 things you should do. 1, keep your trays in good condition, meaning after every use, rinse them properly, store them in a safe place, like the case we give you, and don't leave them under the sun. When you do that, they can last for years, which also means you're not constantly replacing them or spending more money down the road. 2, schedule your touch-ups with your regular cleaning appointments. And here's why. A professional cleaning clears away all the plaque and tartar that can block the whitening gel from doing its job. So when you whiten after cleaning, you're working with a fresh canvas, meaning the gel penetrates better and gives you the brightest possible result. Plus, it's just really convenient. Since you're already at the dentist, you don't need to add an extra trip for another service. So essentially, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Patient testimonials, results. So let's get real for a second. I can go on and on about all the benefits of KoR treatment, but at the end of the day, they don't really matter unless you can see the difference. Because now the question isn't, does it work? It's, will it actually work for me? And to answer your question, let me give you some examples. So let's say a patient's in his 40s and is a lifelong coffee drinker. He tried every store-bought kit under the sun, strips, gels, lights, you name it. And they slightly worked, but nothing too noticeable. His last resort, KoR Whitening. After his in-office treatment, he saw a major transformation, which didn't go unnoticed. Friends, family, and coworkers all commented on the difference. Or how about this? A patient who has avoided whitening for years because of intense sensitivity. She was convinced she couldn't handle the discomfort, but when she learned about KoR's built-in desensitizing system, she decided to give it a try and went through the entire treatment comfortably. Then, here's a tough one. Let's imagine a woman in her 50s with tetracycline stains so deep that no other whitening system had worked. She was exploring alternatives besides whitening, but ultimately decided to try KoR. She was skeptical at first, but after the procedure, she couldn't deny the big difference it made. Now, these stories, they matter because they answer the questions a lot of patients have. Does it actually work for me? Will it last? And will I be comfortable going through with it? So if you want to achieve the best outcome, you have to ask your dentist the right questions like, can I see before and after photos of your actual patients? Stock photos are easy to find, but what really counts is seeing results your dentist has personally achieved. This shows you what's realistic in their hands, not just what the system promises in theory. How long have these patients kept their results? This one's important to know because it's all about staying power, which means if a smile looks great for 2 weeks and fades eventually, that's not worth your time and money. What do most people say about sensitivity and comfort? I know that sensitivity is a big factor, and honestly, a brighter smile isn't worth it if you can't even drink a glass of cold water without wincing. So, this question helps you understand whether the system is not only effective, but also tolerable for everyday life. How does KoR compare to other whitening systems you've offered? Dentists often have experience with multiple brands, like Zoom, Opalescence. So by asking this, you cut through the marketing noise and hear directly from the expert. Why do they choose KoR over the rest? And that tells you a lot. You know, I've used a lot of different products over the years, a lot of different brands, and it's probably true that I could get decent results with lots of other brands and following different protocols and systems and using different products. I don't like experimenting a lot and taking lots of chances. The KoR system's so effective. I've gotten so many great results. You could probably sub out different parts or use different things, but why? I mean, it's just better to just stick with one whole system, do it every time, dial in one process. And that's what I've learned personally. And that's why I consistently get great results. We just follow the cookbook. We follow the rules. We have a few rules of our own, but it's pretty dialed in if you just do exactly what you're supposed to. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people don't. They cut a corner here, they sub out a product there, they mix and match things. ROI, is it worth it? So after learning about KoR Whitening, is it really worth the investment? At first glance, it might feel like you're just paying for a cosmetic upgrade. But when you really think about it, it's a whole lot more than that. It's about confidence and how you show up in first impressions. And yes, sometimes it's also about the opportunities that open up when you carry yourself differently. Because at the end of the day, KoR Whitening is more than just another whitening product. It's designed to give you long-term results, so you're not stuck doing touch-ups every few months. And compared to cheaper options, it's less likely to cause sensitivity or lead to disappointment. That's why for most patients, it ends up being one of the best ROIs they've ever made in themselves. But If after all this, you're still seesawing between going through with the procedure or not, here's what I want you to do. Calculate the 10-year cost of all of your whitening options by following these 4 steps. Write down the upfront cost of each option. Start with the price tag. Let's say an over-the-counter whitening strip costs $50, while another in-office treatment might run $500, and KoR is $1,000. Write those numbers down side by side so you can see them clearly. This will be your baseline. Step 2, think about your maintenance requirements, which brings us to the second step. And this is where it gets interesting, because since cheaper treatments aren't made to last long, you might need to restock every few weeks. And in-office bleaching takes about 6 months to a year before you need to do it again. But with KoR, you can enjoy the benefits permanently with many touch-ups if you practice proper maintenance. Step 3, multiply over 10 years. So if whitening strips are $50, but you have to buy them 6 times a year, that's $300 every year. Over 10 years, that's $3,000. Then that $500 bleaching session you thought was a one and done, if you repeat that every year, that's $5,000 in a decade. Now compare that with KoR. Even if you paid $1,000 up front, with minor maintenance, your total may still sit under $2,000 across 10 years. Step 4, compare the totals. Okay, stack your data side by side. You've got $3K for strips, $5K for repeat bleaching, and $2,000 for KoR. Suddenly, it all becomes clear. KoR might cost more up front, but in the long run, it might just save you money. Plus, it gives you better, longer-lasting results with fewer hassles. And if you're wondering what those results actually look like in real life, don't miss this next video. You'll see some real patient transformations step by step, so you know exactly what to expect. Click right here to check it out.